Abortion, the action taken to deliberately terminate a human pregnancy. Is it part of a woman's right to her own body, or does it infringe upon the rights of the fetus? Especially in America, this debate has held strong throughout history. My name is Ruhi, and this is a brief history of abortion in America, including the story of Roe v. Wade and many others. Since ancient times, women used a variety of not only contraceptives but also abortion methods. From the toxic pennyroyal tea to the consumption of opium, to being violently beaten, or to even the common coat hanger method, women have endured extreme processes of abortion throughout history. Unwanted pregnancies have remained a common trend, while the women's responses have changed based on the available technology. The use of herbs known as abortifacients to facilitate miscarriages was a common occurrence. Many poisons to be ingested were widely available. Whole books of abortifacient recipes were available, marketed to bring back a woman's menstruation, which in the process killed the fetus. However, in America, there was a negative perception of abortion. Anne Trow, a young English immigrant in New York City, began the spread and increased the accessibility of abortion. As a mother and a widow, she met the radical Charles Lohman, who worked for the New York Herald. Lohman published pamphlets about contraceptives and birth control, which deviated from the overall consensus at the time. The two married in 1863, and Trow, going by Madame Ristel, began practicing medicine under a false pretense of having been an apprentice in Europe. With Lohman publicizing it in the Herald and Ristel strategically growing and evading the law, the practice became extremely successful. She offered a variety of services such as abortifacients, illegal abortion surgeries, boarding homes to secretly give birth, and also adoption services. She ended up gaining the nickname the abortionist on Fifth Avenue. At this point in time, abortion surgeries were dangerous and risky. One of the first specialized physicians, Dr. Horatio Robinson Storer, led a movement against abortion. The gynecologist worked with the American Medical Association, the largest organization of doctors and medical students founded in 1847 to ban legal abortion. They succeeded. In 1873, the Comstock Act was passed. The act criminalized the publication, possession, and distribution of information about abortion medication. Those who violated the act were sentenced up to 5 years of labor in prison or up to $2,000 fines. The AMA began regulating abortions in 1890 if the surgery was necessary to save the life of the woman. Until the mid-1960s, abortion and methods of contraceptives were completely illegal unless the life of the woman was at stake. Peoples v. Belois in the California Supreme Court brought up major concerns that spurred change. In the case, Dr. Leon Belois referred his patient Cheryl to an unlicensed Mexican doctor that performed abortions in the U.S. He argued that she threatened her life if he did not give her an abortion. It was still a life or death situation whether she received the abortion or not. He refused to actually perform the surgery, but instead referred her to a different doctor, who was practicing medicine in the U.S. without a license. He was convicted of conspiring an abortion. However, the vagueness of a variety of issues in the case resulted in Belois not being convicted. This case also catalyzed abortion law reforms. The case posed the question, should women be able to choose an abortion, or should their doctor? On December 14, 1961, directly after the case, President Kennedy established the President's Commission on the Status of Women. Chaired by Eleanor Roosevelt, the commission consisted of a committee of appointed legislators and philanthropists. Their objective was to investigate the policies and situations of women in the U.S. in order to preserve their right to education, fair pay, and fair tax. It is a step forward to protecting women's rights in America. Sherry Chesson Finkbein was a TV show hostess for a popular kids show called Romper Room. She had 4 children under the age of 7 and loved children, so when she found another one was on its way in 1962, she was more than overjoyed. However, after experiencing severe morning sickness and headaches, she began taking a medication her husband had brought back from London. The medication, while marketed as Distavol, was actually pure thalidomide, a medication that causes an epidemic of severe birth defects all over Europe. She was horrified looking at images with infants without legs or arms, and realized that she could not bring such a child into the world. After contacting a local hospital, they agreed to an abortion surgery while keeping the procedure quiet. However, when Sherry participated in an anonymous article about the effect of the thalidomide drug in Europe, the next Monday she found the headline of the local newspaper to be, "Baby deforming drug may cost woman her child here." That day, her doctor told her he could not perform the abortion on her because of the potential of a citizen's arrest. Like most states, in Arizona law, abortion was permitted only in life-or-death situations of the woman. In an interview with WNYC, Sherry said,
"What the attorneys decided to do was to send me to a psychiatrist who would make a declaratory statement on the word life. Did life have to mean physical life and dying on the operating table? Could life be mental illness?"
People in Arizona and all over the world were outraged with the situation on both sides. Everywhere she went, the media followed, leaving denials of abortion procedures in its wake. Eventually, a newspaper in Stockholm, Sweden, offered to cover the cost of her abortion in order to have an exclusive interview of Sherry. But the significance of Sherry's case was not of religious beliefs or the morality of abortion. It was the vagueness of abortion laws. In most states, as long as a board of 3 doctors agreed to the necessity of the procedure, the woman would be allowed it. This made no sense. Hundreds upon thousands of abortions happen in each state with these laws all the time. As long as pregnancy exists, so will unwanted pregnancies. The laws did not affect abortion rates in the U.S. The climax for abortion laws in America took place in the Supreme Court of the United States with the famous case Roe v. Wade. In an effort to find out more about the case, I emailed the Weddington Center, run by the now women's rights activist Sarah Weddington, the head lawyer who defended Norma Mcorvey under the name Jane Roe, who sued the state of Texas for the McCorvey's inability to access a proper abortion. I was able to have an exclusive phone interview with Miss Weddington. I asked her about the case.
I was over at the law school one day, and a woman named Judy Smith, who was head of these counseling efforts, said to me, "Sarah, I think we really need to do a lawsuit about this, because it's the only way we as volunteers don't have to be afraid of being prosecuted. We think doctors would perform abortions if they weren't afraid of being prosecuted." And so she said, "What we really need to do is file a lawsuit. Would you be our attorney?" And in Texas, at the time of the case, the law was that no abortion was legal except to save the life of the woman. And nobody was really sure what that language meant.
This appeared to be a common theme. Abortion laws were just not applicable. They made no sense.
My civil procedure professor, and he suggested we make it a class action, which means that it's really filed for all women who are or might become pregnant and want the option of abortion.
On June 17, 1970, Weddington was able to prove that abortion laws in Texas were unconstitutional and infringed upon a woman's right to herself that is affirmed by the 9th Amendment. The case was petitioned for certiorari and was taken to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ended up ruling in her favor 7-2. The results were monumental. This meant women were allowed the privacy to choose whether they wanted an abortion or not. I asked Miss Weddington why she took this risk to take such a controversial case. She told me,
"And look back at 1969 and the years between then and 1973, there were so many limits to what women could do. For example, I played high school basketball, and that was when women were only allowed to run half court. Then women, if they wanted to get a credit card, they had to get their husband or their father's signature before they could apply. There were just so many different things where women were limited in what we thought was an unfair way. And so abortion was one more of those."
To Miss Weddington, taking the case wasn't just for women seeking abortions, but for all women to have all the rights they deserve. On the federal level, women are allowed to make decisions to have abortions. States can, however, place as many legal constraints, requirements, or regulations on the procedure, which many states take full advantage to do so, making safe legal abortion still unattainable. The abortion debate also presents the question, where is the line? If fetuses are not human, then who are really human? What defines humanity? Is one more human than another? Can a medical condition impede being human? Then is it humane to terminate them? Euthanasia is also questioned. As technology becomes more and more advanced, these medical ethical issues will hit us much quicker than we will expect. We can only hope that whatever justifications we will contrive, it will let us retain our humanity.